Hello, boys and girls. It's Laoshi Lawrence McElroy with Water Tiger School of Taijiquan in what was supposed to be a YouTube live video on this Monday, November 23rd. There was an issue with the live feed, maybe something similar to what we had with Facebook. Don't know. We think, that we have all of the right equipment in place. But there was an issue. And then we didn't have the right equipment in place when we did the first pre-recorded version of today's session. So here's take 3 of this session for Sachem Public Library, but also, of course, for the general public. We started these back in March on the 23rd. When the initial lockdown started and libraries, of course, closed. That meant our public classes were, of course, suspended or canceled. And Sachem Public Libraries had a long-time class going on there for a number of years. So we started launching these at 10 a.m. on Monday mornings. The library, of course, is open now in New York State forward, but, nothing in person. And sort of a limited availability of remote programming. Every library is different, so some different libraries are doing remote programs, taiji, Qigong, that sort of thing, as well as other programs. But everybody has to do what they have to do within their own resources. At this time, what we're looking at doing is what we're doing now. Doing a pre-recorded video, and we'll do our best to get that done and post it at 10 a.m. on Mondays. We may also take another look at our equipment and see if there's something that we can do on our end that might be a solution to the issues that we've been having. But we'll see. So there's that. I just want to say, in choosing what we were going to do today, we were looking at the time of year. And in, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, in 3 days, it's going to be Thanksgiving. Now, for some people, just the idea of Thanksgiving in a normal year can be sort of, maybe stressful. But it seems to me there might be something else going on that would sort of raise the temperature on that stress. So what we decided we'd do is something that could help with stress reduction. And for that, we're going to turn to the 5 animal frolics. Now, I know we just did an animal frolic at the beginning of the month. Wasn't that long before then we did another one. But we're going to return to the crane frolics, which was the one we did a number of weeks ago, not just 3 or 4 weeks ago, because the primary therapeutic quality of the crane deals with heart energy, heart health, and in traditional Chinese medicine and Qigong, heart energy, heart health has a big role in dealing with the 7 strong emotions, emotional stability, emotional balance, that sort of thing. So that's what we're going to do. If you participate in either crane walking way back, I think at the end of March for one of our live sessions, or just recently, with crane walking on one leg, you'll have a leg up, or a wing up, as it were, in today's session. If not, don't worry, we'll bring you up to speed. And as always, don't worry as well, there are modifications available for us, I guess is what I'm attempting to stumble over my words to say. I also want to point out today's t-shirt, right? My in-laws went to Greece a number of years ago, and I got this very nice t-shirt. So anyway, our warm-up today, as it is sort of become a standard when we do something from the 5 animal frolics, is a little something from the 9 temple exercises called advance and retreat. The way that we move in the animal frolics really makes it important for us to be mindful about where we are in our knees, that our knees are tracking the same direction as our toes. And this particular warm-up, it's not what you might call an official benefit of advance and retreat, but it is on Water Tiger School's list of benefits. That proprioception, that kinesthesia, that awareness of where your body is in space and where your body is in movement, that the knees are not going ways that the toes are not going. But the official list of benefits, which I don't on a regular basis when we've done advance and retreat, I don't address these benefits. So sort of the main Qigong benefit of advance and retreat deals with activating the the Shen Yu, that's this one, the essence door, right, the lower back, the kidney vessel, and the Xia Dan Tian. That's where my hands went the first time as I was saying Shen Yu. But the Xia Dan Tian, not the acupuncture point, though it gets stimulated as well, but the actual esoteric vessel within the abdominal cavity, the lower field of elixir, is stimulated, activated in this exercise. So you sort of have the belt channel in a way getting activated in this exercise. Now there's a list of organs that's benefited by this. You have the kidneys, you have the liver, the spleen, the pancreas, the gallbladder, the ascending and descending colons. Wow, that's quite a list of organs. And then finally, this exercise works the abdominals, the legs, and the ankles. So I want to point out on my tea bottle, a little yin yang symbol. It's not too little, really. Right? There's the yang, the white, the knowledge. Well, that's something else. But the white, the expanding, the yin, the dark, the black, the compressing, the advancing, the retreating. Another thing this exercise allows us to explore is how both of those things, yin and yang, advance and retreat, are happening at the same time. There is no advance unless you're also retreating at the same time. There is no retreating if you're not advancing at the same time. So let's just start with a little shake. Breathing, relaxing, and releasing and bouncing. Now, this involves a separation between the upper body and the lower body. That's what can tweak the knees here, because if you're turning the torso and turning the hips at the same time, see what that's doing to my knees? It's moving them sideways. You may not know this, but knees are not made to move sideways. They're not made to twist. They're made to fold. So we want to keep the knees and the toes tracking the same direction. Shoulder width, probably best. If you want to be a little bit wider, that's okay. A little bit inside, maybe, but be careful of that because that puts sort of a different pressure on the knees. So shoulder wide, somewhere around shoulder wide. I'm going to start static. I'm not going to fill a foot yet, but turning in the lower area, in the lower abdominal cavity, the lower back. I'm going to go to the left first. You can go to the right. I'll do my best not to talk about directions, but just, turning this way or turning that way. Right? Until I feel in that initial turn that I'm starting to feel resistance from the hips. Once the hips start to turn, I know I'm done. And then I move up a little bit and twist the mid-torso. Now you may notice with me that I have very little turn in the lower region, and then I have a little bit more turn when I get to the mid-torso. I've got some back parts down there that don't twist, that don't turn. So I have a limited range of motion in that first band, a little bit more in the second. Then I move a little bit higher, and each time I take a step up, I'm moving the center torso until it starts to pull into the lower torso, which then pulls into the hips. Then I'm moving the upper torso until it pulls into the middle torso, which pulls into the lower torso, which turns the hips. And then whatever space I have left, I finish by turning my head. Now I'm going to move back to the center and tell you, so some of you may have more. You may actually get to that last position, and your chest, your shoulders are actually parallel to the wall that you're facing. So perpendicular to the front and the back of the room. Fine, if you can do that and you're not pulling your hips and pulling your knees, great. Others may have less of a range of motion and doing a lot of the turn here. Don't forsake the activation that you have simply because you don't have the same sort of activation as other people have. Your range of motion is your range of motion. I can't get to my shoulders being this way, but I'm getting the activation within the torso I need from my getting to the end of my range of motion. If you're end of range of motion, boom, 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 and you're here and finishing the turn, then you're getting the same activation I am, but within the limitations of your own range of motion. So some people will be, well, I can't really turn at all, so I'm just not going to turn. That's the wrong decision to make. Turn, honoring your range of motion, but also honoring the integrity of the exercise. So we're going to do retreat first. I'm going to suggest a breath pattern. I'm also going to point out this image that in retreat, if I settle the weight into one foot, now I told you I wasn't going to talk about sides, but I'll just tell you I'm going to shift into the left first. And then I'm going to turn the direction to look the direction of the side of my body where the weight is. So I'm turning facing the same direction that my weight currently resides. Now, I'm in position, something's going to expand, something's going to come toward me, something's going to become yang. I'm going to become yin and move away from it. And then I'll turn to the other side and the same image takes place. Something's coming toward me, something's becoming yang, I'm becoming yin, and retreating away from it. So that's the idea. The breath pattern might be an inhalation on the shift and an exhalation on the turn. But breathe when you have to. So I'm going back into that first foot, turning to face that direction. So weight and eyes, same direction. I'm going to push off on that weighted foot to fill the empty foot, moving away, keeping my eyes the direction of where my weight was, watching that thing coming toward me, and turn, and retreat, and turn, and maybe inhale, and exhale. Two separate movements. I shift, and then I turn, and then I shift, and then I turn, and then I shift, and then I turn. Now, some people shift and turn will do something formal with their arms. Shift and turn. I just like to leave my arms hanging. Shift and turn. I find putting them in shift, one of our static positions we use for various walking exercises, shift and turn sort of gets in the way of shift, feeling what I like to feel here, and turn, shift and turn. Other people dress this up and do things, shift and turn and shift, and I don't like that either. That's just too much going on. Shift and turn. But what I don't want is shifting and turning at the same time, right? It is a shift away and then a turn, a shift away, and then a turn. Just going to do one more pair. So last retreat from the first side and turn. Last retreat from the second side. Now hold. No turn here. So advance. I'm looking toward my empty foot. Something is becoming yin. Something is moving away. And I'm moving into the space left behind. I'm becoming yang to that yin. And I might change my breath pattern now and actually exhale on the shift and inhale on the turn, but breathe when you have to. And shift. All the weight's on that leg. You've moved forward. I'm going to turn, keeping the weight in that leg, and look to the other side. Now that thing is moving away, is retreating, is becoming yin. I'm becoming yang into it. And turn. Shift. 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 And turn. Advance. And turn. Advance. And turn. Maybe exhale. And inhale. Maybe exhale. And inhale. And one more pair. Turn and face the front. Equally divide the weight between the 2 feet. And there's your advance and retreat from the 9 temple exercises. Some people don't really consider the 9 temple exercises as Qigong. I do, at least loosely. Water Tiger School does. So there you go, advance and retreat. That gets us ready for crane flying from the 5 animal frolics. So the reason that we want to focus on the knees is the, I won't say unique way that we move in the animal frolics, but the specific way that we move in the animal frolics. Because, in all reality, as we're walking, it's sort of going to be this. The little pigeon-toed thing, right? Not pigeon-toed, sorry, duck feet. Abducted, not adducted. So the feet are ideally going to be stepping 45 to 45. I'm going to be turning to face the empty foot. So when you turn to face the empty foot, you don't want to bring that knee with you, because again, knees fold, they don't twist side to side. So you want to make sure that you're turning in such a way that there's a separation between the upper body and the lower body. The quad sort of opens up like the pages of the book to keep that knee the same direction as the weighted foot. Which may mean if you have hip and maybe ankle issues, that sort of thing, you're not going to be 45 to 45. You're going to be stepping like 20 degrees to 20 degrees. Just again, honor your range of motion, but also maintain the integrity of the exercise. So you don't want to make it just the easiest so there's nothing going on, but you also don't want to go to the point where you're straining anything. So that's sort of the footwork. Now, we're not stepping shoulder wide. There's actually not, from Water Tiger School perspective, a prescribed place to put the foot. So I'm just setting it down in a place that works with my range of motion, my twist, and that sort of thing, and it's on the ball of the foot. So ideally, you're turning and resting the ball of the foot on the ground, not collapsing into it. It's really unweighted there. Although this is Qigong, and it's moving Qigong, we still have the crown point of the head, the base of the pelvic bowl, the ball of the foot. I have my vertical alignment in that leg that then allows me to govern that leg out. But if you need to bounce the foot out or slide the foot out, that's fine. It doesn't slide very well on this exercise mat. Boom. So if I was having issues with my balance and stuff today, I'd have to bounce. Right, but I started 45 to 45, the quads open like the pages of the book. I switch to the heel and shift the weight in and bring in the foot. Gonna turn, again, open up the quad like the pages of the book. 45 to 45, ball of the foot rests. Right? Knee, toes pointed that way. Knee, toes, eyes pointed this way. Switch to the heel, and notice as I'm doing this, I'm not only pausing because I'm teaching, and Lawrence also always stops when he's talking about details, but within the animal frolics, for most, though not all of the frolics, there are pauses between the movements. So you take the step, you hold. Make the next transition, and you hold. Set the heel down, take the next step, if you will, and hold. It's going to be my last step, and then I'm going to move back into the camera shot a little bit. Right? So stay where you are, if you're with me. Now, our closing movement is a lot like Subtlety to the Dantian from our breathing set, if you've ever done a Water Tiger School program that included the 10-piece Tai Chi Qigong breathing set. We switch to the heel, we come in from that last step, palms turn up, we turn in the direction that we're walking, palms up on the balls of the feet a little bit, palms down, and a little rebound brings the hands into the belly. Now, a word about the direction that I'm walking. I'm doing this as a linear exercise, right? But in all reality, in Water Tiger School's approach to the 5 animal frolics, it's supposed to be circular. But it's easier to learn, it's easier to teach in a linear fashion, so that's what we're doing. And by the way, some people, they're out there, don't realize, because they've never experienced it. They've always done things like, the stationary set of Tai Chi, stationary pieces of Tai Chi Qigong. They've always done the standing A piece of brocade, things that are all rooted in being stationary as you're doing them. And that's how they have experienced Qigong. And they see the animal frolics being done, and this has happened. Tai Chi in the Park, back when we were doing that, World Tai Chi Day, when my focus for Water Tiger School was introducing some aspect of the 5 animal frolics, inevitably somebody was like, that's a weird kind of Tai Chi. What kind of Tai Chi is that? What style is that? It's like, it's not Tai Chi, it's Qigong. It's just moving Qigong. And some people don't move in their animal frolics. They may take a step forward and then bring the foot back, and then step with the other foot and bring the foot back, or they may be entirely in a position and moving their body like the various animals, and opening wings and turning from side to side. But this approach is moving Qigong. The other thing is, our 5 animals, crane, monkey, tiger, bear, and deer, aren't everybody's same 5 animals. I've seen approaches to the animal frolics that include dragon and phoenix and serpent and can't remember if it's panther or jaguar, all sorts of different animals. So I don't know if you've ever heard me say this before, but everybody's different. So that's the lower body movement. The breath is an inhalation, a soft inhalation in through the nose. And the exhalation, soft, it's described as the sound of the wind, but I prefer maybe the word breeze, through pursed lips. And the same as the movement, you hold. And hold. And hold. And hold. So what that would be like with the lower body movement, breath should be done at the same time. So I'm here, I'm going to take an exhalation. Because on the inhalation, I turn, set the foot down, now hold. Switch to the heel, still holding the breath, and the exhalation and the retracting of that back foot should all be done at the same time. Now you can rest the foot while you pause. You don't have to keep the foot in the air. Holding both breath and movement, then inhale. Holding both breath and movement, switch to the heel. And our little casual, not casual, it's actually a formal close for the 5 animal frolics. And there's the lower body movement with the breath. The upper body movement won't add that much to deal with. So the thing to remember with Water Tiger School's approach to the 5 animal frolics is there are these things. The movement is one. Just sort of the basic physicality of it, but also its style. With the crane, you don't want any extra activation. It should be non-strenuous in your movement, which actually matches aspects of the nature and the spirit of the animal. Because those are functionalities, those are things that we need to keep in mind as we're playing the crane. The nature of the crane is grace and elegance. Don't worry, no worries whatsoever. We understand some people may not have, they may not be too graceful, they may not be too elegant, especially to start with. So we always say a spirit, a flavor, a taste, an idea, an image of grace and elegance. That's the nature of the crane. The spirit of the crane, sort of the physicality, light and peaceful, as if soaring through the clouds. So those things are in mind. Each of the different animals, each animal has 5 frolics. There are 5 animals, so 25 different frolics. Each of the 5 animals have their own chi focus, and those do vary, though the breath, the in through the nose, out through the mouth in that fashion, can be seen quite prominently in some of the other animals. The chi focus is always, from my perspective anyway, really quite different. And there are 2 layers to the chi focus in the crane frolics. And one is relatively simple, constant, doesn't change. On the inhale, you visualize the chi rising from the Xia Dantian, the esoteric vessel, not the acupuncture point, to the Zhang Dantian, the channel, the esoteric vessel, not the acupuncture point. And then on the exhalation, it sinks back down. So it's inhaling on the rise, exhaling on the sink. The other part of this changes depending upon which of the crane frolics you're doing. And on crane flying, it's actually the same as crane walking on one leg. The focus is on the chi on the inside of the wing, so the underside of the biceps, or the top of the biceps, the inside of the elbow fold, the underside of the forearm, the underside of the hands. Boom, as things move, as things open and close. Wow, that movement's really familiar. Even if you didn't do, right, crane walking on one leg, You've seen this before. If you've done taiji flying with the walking exercise, right? Just notice the structure there, right? I'm not even really, my hands aren't really at my shoulder height. Very sound. I'm not lifting from my shoulders. See that tension there? Shoulders are dropped and relaxed. There's a decline from my shoulder to my elbow fold. There's an incline from my elbow fold to my wrist fold, and then a little decline to the ends of the fingers. So this is very structurally sound. I'm not back in the plane of my body, definitely not behind me, not really in front, just for my arms and my structure. I like keeping my chest sunk and my back rounded here, and for that matter, back in advance and retreat as well. So my chi is underneath, kind of catching the wings, lifting, and then folding. And the fold changes based on where I'm going to step next. Is the hand, the wrist that's in front. So I'm going to step to the left, the cross is with the left hand in front. I'm going to step to the right, the cross is with the right hand in front. We add this movement as well. So the expansion of the wings takes only the time it takes to inhale, takes only the time it takes to place the foot. Setting the heel down. After that pause, the exhalation, the arms coming in, the foot coming in, should all end at the same time. Remember, you set that foot down at this point. And the right hand should be in front because I'm going to step to the right next. Switch to the heel. Turn to face the direction you've been walking, palm up, palm down. And that little rebound. So if you're walking in a circle, you don't actually just turn to face the front of whatever your room is. You turn, wherever you are in your circle, you're at the 45, you've taken your last step. You turn into the border of your circle. So the direction you would be walking in that roundness. So let's see. I think I've hit all of the points that I need to hit on crane flying. The thing to remember is all these different points, even for that matter, the nature and the spirit of the animal. So you have the nature, the spirit of the animal. You have the movement, the approach to movement. You have the approach to chi. You have the breath. All of those things are considered the Buddhist qualities of the frolic. Once you get comfortable with them and they start to become second nature for you and just part of what it is that you're doing, then you're open to explore the Taoist quality of the frolic, and that is to become the animal. It's not like you're doing the Stanislavski version of the animal frolics and what would I do if I were a crane in these given circumstances. You are the crane. I had somebody who, I think it was either crane soaring, or is it crane gliding? Crane gliding, or crane walking on one leg. And he said, Larshi, I've been having all these issues with my balance. And I happened to think, a crane wouldn't have issue with their balance. And his balance issues went away. So, something to keep in mind. 45 to 45. Knee tracks the same direction as the toes, and if you have to be inside of that 45, fine. Do what's right for you. Maintain, honor your range of motion, but maintain the integrity of the exercise. Vertical alignment, crown point of the head, base of the pelvic bone, ball of the foot. That's what gives you the opportunity to govern that leg in what it is that it does. Crossing. Subtle cross, and not going wild. This isn't like taiji flying, where there's a big dramatic cross, just a little cross at the wrists. Matching the foot that I'm going to step is the outside, so the left arm's on the outside, the left wrist is on the outside when I'm going to step to the left. When I turn, there's a separation between the upper body and the lower body. The qua opens like the pages of the book. By the way, qua, where the inner upper thigh comes into contact with the pelvic bowl. So, shake out. Get in touch with your inner crane. I'm going to make a pass. I'm not going to stop when I become headless. I'm going to go all the way for all the marbles, and then we'll call it a video. So find that exhalation, pause for a moment, and inhale and open up those wings. And hold. Switch to the heel. That soft exhalation like the sound of the wind. The qi is going back down from the zhang dantian to the xia dantian. Feel the qi on the inside of the wings, the underside or the inside of the arms, lifting up, catching the wind, extending that leg. Switch to the heel. On the underside of the arms, or the inside of the arms, the back side of the legs, folding things together. Oops, sorry. Messed up my cross. Pause. Inhale, arm extension, leg extension. Inhale, all end at the same time. Switch to the heel. Hold. Pivot. Now, I do quite a pause here. Probably get 3 or 4 beats on my beat calculator. That may be a strain for your breath, so I'm going to shorten my beats here. Pause, holding breath and movement. Set the heel down. Pause, holding breath and movement. So I'm only doing about a beat, beat and a half. So you want probably at least like a 1001, like a 1 second pause. But if you can pause just a little bit longer, holding breath and movement, more power to you. I'm going back to a little bit spaced out transition. Pause and hold. Qi has sunk. Qi rises to the zhang dantian. Make sure the image of the rising qi doesn't make you raise your body. It's just the qi raising to the from the xia dantian to the zhang dantian. I'm going to be able to squeeze out about 2 more steps. Keep messing up that cross for you. I apologize. Last to the left. Right leg's going to step, right hand's coming in front. Last step. Switch to the heel. Last cross, left in front. Turn into the direction we've been walking, palms up. Or I guess I should say flying, palms down. And a little rebound. Palms the hands into the dantian. So there you go, folks. A little crane flying from the 5 animal frolics for a pre-recorded video session, Water Tiger School for Sachem, or Water Tiger for Sachem, on this November the 23rd. So, again, please, as I have been saying over the last 8 months, mask up, avoid large crowds, keep physically distant, and I don't think urge is quite a strong enough word, but I'm going to use it anyway. I urge you to be mindful, to be wise, to be safe in the choices you make for your Thanksgiving celebration this week. For myself, it will be myself, my wife, our cats. Period. So thanks, as always, for your time and attention. We might, in reviewing our equipment, take one more shot at a live session next Monday, but chances are we'll post something as close to 10 o'clock as we can. 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, by the way. And we'll go from here. So thanks. Be safe, be aware, be well.